Hi, I'm Brian, I'm from Ireland and I'm an aspiring music producer. This is called Visual. It's a centre for contemporary art and the George Bernard Shaw Theatre. I got lucky. At 18 years of age, I just started college doing the music production degree, started in here as the in-house sound engineer. And yeah, just worked my way up to show technician. I initially believed that the reason I chose music producing was because of how records sounded on the radio. That was the first thing that got me into, I suppose, wanting to produce or be the guy behind the star. So I suppose my parents actually saw this kind of interest and enthusiasm and put me into keyboard lessons with my cousin and great musical mentor called Dale Hennessy. He taught me keyboard for about 7 or 8 years, and it was probably through those, I suppose, formative years, if you want to call it that, that I really learned how songs were arranged. I wasn't actually very good, but I think I was developing my musical chops and my ears were developing into different sounds. Actually, I do remember at like 7 years of age being this kid where the first actual record I analysed was a Mariah Carey song. I know, Mariah Carey. With Boyz II Men called One Sweet Day. And I was like 7 or 8 years of age and I noticed that the snare drum was panned to the left speaker. So I think then is when I really recognised that I loved this. Didn't really think it was a hobby or a career. I didn't think you could, make money out of it or you had to be a teacher, an accountant or something real. So I was about 3 years into my music production degree when I contacted a guy called Derek Ryan. And he is actually originally from Carlow, but he was in a boy band called D-Side. And they had just split up. They were signed to Warner Music in the UK. They had just split up, but I thought he was worth pursuing, if you want to put it that way. So yeah, I got working with Derek at the very, very start. He had a song called God's Plan. I mastered that song, and then everything really took off for me from there. The biggest challenge to working in this business, I suppose there's a few of them. The first one is at the start, you don't really have a network. And I'm kind of still feeling that to a certain extent. I am making contacts, I'm going to the States, but it's really, I suppose, delivering something substantial for me to move to the States or something like that. So that's quite difficult to do at the start. Second thing is, just from a very personable level, is the fact that I'm in the creative arts. People are a little bit different. Simple things like people turn up on time. People just being nice. It's quite hard to find that, and it's quite refreshing to work in that environment when I do get it. So I suppose at the start you're not really used to being in that environment where it can be very pressurized, it can be very deadline based, and it probably still is, but it's how I as a producer would be getting used to that I found that was a challenge. Being in Ireland physically in this marketplace is difficult. It can get quite frustrating because it's limited. I talked earlier about having a number one record, which was great, but if you looked at the sales of what it takes to get to number one in Ireland, it would be very, real, shall we say. I think the first one that really struck home as like an achievement was probably getting my degree. Getting a first class honours in any degree is probably difficult enough, and the first year of that degree I wasn't particularly the A student or anything like that, and in the second year I was working hard again. I wasn't top of the class, but then in the third year I just was night and day. It was just work hard, stayed up lots of late nights, lots of sleepless nights, and just worked because I knew, maybe it was just a good lesson to me as well, that if you really want to be in this business, you got to work hard. And just because it's college because it's not the real world, doesn't necessarily mean that it's any more valuable or invaluable. Second achievement, I suppose, the number one record with Derek Ryan. I was 23 years of age. That was very inspiring, shall we say, to myself, and just to see that you can achieve what you want to do. It really struck home when Derek brought me this gold disc and he put it up on the wall, and you're real proud, and it's your first number one. One piece of advice that I always give to younger people is to mind your ears and take care of them, because they're your career. They're what makes the money, essentially, and it's why people hire me as a producer. It's not because I have the best equipment, although I would like to have, the fanciest equipment. The one I always come back to is just to work hard, have a work ethic that's unparalleled. Now, it's very easy saying that, but I think, because people taught me that, but it never really hit home until I was in my final year of my degree, and I realised that I wasn't number one, which I want to be, and you just have to work hard, and that, in that particular instance, came true. I'm not saying if you work hard forever that you will, make it in this business, but it's one thing I've learned, it's an ingredient that all successful people have.